All right, welcome into the half, everybody. My name is Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me over at oursuccessgroup.com. This fine gentleman right here is Mr. Erich Campbell, and you can find him at erichcampbell.com. Mr. Erich Campbell, how are you, sir?
Doing all right. Busy as usual, but I know for most of our decorators in the world, it is a busy time for all of us. I know, especially my embroidery friends. This is embroidery season. It's
Embroidery
time.
season. I like it. Yep, very
Right?
much so.
Outerwear is our world, so we know it is time for outerwear.
Yeah, I don't have my awesome jacket that I just got recently that is embroidered. So, yes, I agree. It is that time of year. I love it. Um,
Absolutely.
yep. So, Kingsbury Crafts, good morning.
Good morning,
And Mo
Mo.
checking in. Good
Good
morning.
to have you here.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
So Eric, I wanted to start off like this, right? So
sure.
we're a week out from just less than a week out from Thanksgiving holiday here for those of us in the United States. So
This is true.
you know me, we've got to always come up with something on the positive side of things. I'm annoyingly positive, I've been told, and I like that.
Annoyingly positive. All right. I
Yeah.
guess I guess that's one way to hit it.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to know from those of you that are tuned in live here, and from Mr. Eric Campbell, and I'll share mine as well. What's one thing that what stands out to you that you're thankful for this year?
Okay, so am I kicking off first?
Yeah,
All right.
sorry, I just like pause. Go, Eric. Awkward
I mean,
pause.
I know I say something like this every year, but frankly, I'm really thankful for our community and for where I get to work. Like the way I get to live because of that is really important to me. And honestly, it's all this interaction with everybody who's out here. I think it makes a big difference seeing people. Honestly, part of it, people using the work that I do. Uh, I think there's sometimes where we do things that are slightly out of our comfort zone. As a commercial embroidery guy
Yeah,
working in Brilliance, I've done some stuff that is very much more in the home and craft side than I used to. But seeing people kind of use that in their own homes and for their own events and things has been really kind of rewarding and cool. So,
that's
and
awesome.
also I still see people doing like I always talk about Merrily and the fonts I made for that and the patches that we did for that. I see people doing those commercially, but I also see people using them at home, and so it's been kind of cool to be in both sides. So I'm just thankful for that. I'm thankful for being in the industry that I am and being around all you folks.
Awesome. That's awesome, Eric. Well, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for being part of this and all the sharing that you do, so people have that opportunity to use that stuff. So that's pretty cool. All right. So we've got Edward. Good afternoon, and then he's
Afternoon, Edward.
switched over to YouTube as well. So you can catch us just about anywhere. I love
It's true.
it.
LinkedIn, we appear all over the place, including Twitch sometimes if I get it all set up all the time. Sometimes I forget to get everything set up, but
Yeah, I
I've
think I
had a
forgot to put it on
streamer.
LinkedIn this time too, so
It's
that's
all
okay.
good.
We could add it right now,
We'll get
but
there. We'll get there.
one day. All right, let's see here. We've got Jeff Fuller made it. Good to see you, sir. No, did not miss it. We moved it
We
back.
had to move it. Yeah, we had a little thing. If you didn't get to see this morning's Cheerleader guys, which is very likely you didn't, we had to push it back an hour because one of our guests couldn't show up any earlier. But went off pretty well. I crossed my fingers going into that one. But we
Yeah,
had a great women in garment decoration episode. So Anne and Kirsten were on talking about, or Kristen, I believe,
yeah,
were on
Kristen.
talking about Women in Print Alliance and about the great things they're doing at their individual companies. So go back and check that out. Cheerleaderguys.com. It will be up eventually, but for right now, go to the live streams and check that out. It's just incredible. So, very, very worthwhile to kind of see what's going on in the industry and also how women are kind of addressing this in their own communities and how we can help to support that. So good stuff this morning. But
Yeah,
yeah, we did have to shove our clocks back a little bit. So if you're catching this at a weird hour, yep, we're a little off center too, but it
yep,
all worked out
yep.
fine.
Yeah, it did work out, and appreciative of everybody being so flexible and making that happen, especially you, Eric. So thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
And Ramona made two of us. So yeah, there
Yeah,
you
nope. We are later but for a reason, but it was a good reason.
go. Yeah.
Um,
So Edward says, sorry, not feeling thankful today. I may be losing my service dog and put back on mind numbing meds. So stressed right now.
Sorry to
Um,
hear that.
yeah, sorry to hear that for sure, Edward. I would say this. I know you're not feeling very thankful, but there's always something to be thankful for. So in fact, I find the more I'm feeling like there's nothing to be thankful for, that the harder I work to try to find something, the faster I can get to the other side of that. So I would just challenge you to find something that you're thankful for, the time that you've had with your service dog and some of that other stuff. So it stands out to me off the top of my head. So Just a quick thing there. All right.
Well,
My
I
phone's
have
going
a
off. Can
question
you
I
hear
can
my phone?
answer. Well, you can see we're a
Yeah.
little off center, but I'll go ahead and
Yeah.
answer this question from Jeff because it's directed to me. The
Yes.
take up's at the original time. I'm going to be kind of blazing out of here at the end of the half and rolling on with the stuff I got to get done, and the take up should be at the normal time. So 2:30 Mountain, whatever that means to you, since I don't always remember which direction I'm pointing to the different places. But yeah, take up
Yeah.
will be there for sure.
2:30 Mountain, 3:30 Central,
There you
4:30
go.
Eastern, and 1:30 Pacific. So
He's better at it than I am. I go the wrong direction sometimes and say them the wrong order. So
I've screwed up them so many times that I got good at
when I
it.
used to work
Experience.
internationally a lot more, you guys know I worked at Deco Network, which is an Australian-based company. I had in every office that I worked at wall clocks for Australia. And no lie, I used to keep like 3 wall clocks. I would have Australia and California, or Australia, actually 4 sometimes, depending on if I had digital, because it'd be like Australia, California, Atlanta, and local. Because
Yeah.
I had to deal with teams in all those places, and I just literally had to keep either wall clocks or digital clocks everywhere I went that had all of those. Because I am
Oh wow.
poor at trying to remember that. I don't remember what time it is where I am, let alone yeah. Just like Joe says, newsroom clocks. Clocks like a newsroom. When you're working with an international team, for me, it just always made more sense to to take care of it that way and just have it in front of me visually. But that's
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
said, I'm poor at remembering what time it is. If I'm focused, I will lose all track of what time it is. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I actually, so I've got family still in Arizona. So yeah, that Arizona is the one that always really screws it up because they didn't move. Now, I did read, and I don't know if this is actually true, but I was reading somewhere that there is actually a bill in House or Senate or somewhere
Mm.
where we might not spring forward come next year. So we might
I
just
think it's still some time
constantly
off,
stay.
but yeah, I think you're
Yeah,
right. But I don't know
yeah,
how long, when it's being implemented, but I'm about it.
yeah,
I,
yeah,
I have no love for this, for the changing of time. Plus,
yeah.
what the science is in on is that every time we do that change, we have more car wrecks, we have lost productivity. It is
Hmm.
always bad for us to move that hour.
Yep,
Um,
exactly. Both
very
ways they've
both
found.
ways.
So yeah, yeah,
Doesn't matter where we put it anymore. It's not good for us to shift our clocks like that all of a sudden.
yeah,
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. Okay, Ramona says, "My thankful today, taking the afternoon offline today. Back for Eric. There you go."
Hey, you can always catch me later and not come back on for that. I will not fault you at all.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
speaking of Ramona, she's
Digital
got
detox
coffee and conversation
conversation
on Saturday
tomorrow.
mornings. Yeah,
Yep.
tomorrow morning. So
So yeah,
check
check
that out.
her out as well for sure.
Yep.
And yeah, Deb is right.
Yep. Hey Google, what time is it in Phoenix right now? See if it doesn't. No, it didn't hear me.
Gotcha. No, for sure. I have to admit, I do that a lot. I ask my assistants for lots of stuff. Oh, and
Yes.
Ramona says, which this is great, tomorrow she's doing machine maintenance. So check out Coffee and Conversation where she will talk about machine maintenance. Super critical. If you don't maintain your machines, they'll make you take time for it later. You don't take
They
the
will
time
make you
now,
one way or the other.
and you will be doing it.
Yeah, yeah. Got it. All right, Yusta, hello. Thanks
Hi,
for being
Yosta out
here.
in Sweden. Happy to see you here.
Yep, yep. Let's see. Let's get Jess here real quick. Coffee and conversation is too early for me on Saturdays. I'm
Yeah.
definitely on the replay squad on that one.
Hey, love
What?
Replay Squad. I always tell
Yeah,
people they get feel guilty about not showing up for the live. I'm like, man, believe me, Replay Squad is fine. I'm happy to have you whenever you can get you. That's
yeah,
so I know Ramona's got to feel the same.
yeah. And Ramona, help us out here. I don't remember what time it is off the top of my head right now.
Let us know.
Um,
Let us know. We'll
because
say it.
I do, because I know you were trying not to be on top of Small Biz Saturdays, and if you are, you are. I don't. It's okay. So I'm not throwing that out there, but
Yeah.
because we do Small Business Saturdays at 9, and I thought you were after that. So
Yep.
yeah,
10
10 a.m.
a.m.
Central. Yeah,
Central.
so
All
right
right.
after.
Thank you.
Yep,
So 10
yep,
a.m.
yep.
Central, folks. Check out Coffee and Conversation wherever Ramona is, but you'll also find her in lots of the great groups out there in Facebook land. So
Yep, yep,
for
definitely.
sure.
All right. Edward says, I start trying to work on designs and easily lose track of time, sometimes as much as 9 hours, just tweaking and perfecting. Yeah. Yeah.
Let me
So,
tell you,
yes, we've all been down that rabbit hole. So,
regularly.
speaking of perfecting in quotes, right? I have been remiss. I was supposed to have a small business Saturdays about overcoming perfectionism 2-3 weeks ago, and I had some things come up that I couldn't make it. So tomorrow morning will be a discussion about overcoming perfectionism. And Eric, I think you've maybe said this before, but
Yeah,
we talk about this a lot of times. The things that we quote unquote teach or share are things that we're working on as well, right? And so that's a
100%.
area for me. So I'm looking forward to having that
I
conversation tomorrow
like
morning.
I said, I may have to be on replay squad on that one, but I think I better listen in because that concept of losing track of time. I work on fonts now. Fonts are going to be used by tens of thousands of people because of how many active users we have. Don't get me wrong, they abuse them and don't know how to use a keyboard font pretty frequently. I have to teach a lot of people how keyboard fonts
Yeah,
work and how
yeah,
conversation works. However, I cannot tell you how many times I have just been like, I'm adjusting the curve on an uppercase G for, and I go, it's been 15 minutes. What am I doing? What am I doing? I've adjusted it 15 times to make it just so. I've worked at it, or on script fonts, or especially monograms,
yeah.
reposition monograms where they have to fit into a frame. I'm breaking out slide rules. I'm
Oh
doing
my
like,
goodness.
it starts to get me crazy
Is
because
there an
I'm out there
abacus
like,
involved?
it could be. I don't even remember anymore. I
You
start
just zone
breaking out
out.
tight measurements. I'm pulling it in and out of other software, looking
Uh,
at things. I'm making the frames. I'm
oh man.
adjusting spacing. Admittedly, these are things that have to be done. You can spend a lot of time, and Jeff is absolutely right. You can spend weeks on a font if you want to.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to let it go, but it is you have to think of fonts as 26 plus, and I do ones that have all the international characters frequently when I do them. 26 plus little designs that have to each be perfect and are
Yeah.
going to be scaled a lot. It is just it's a monster, but then you lose a lot of time doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. All right. Edward
Yep.
producing for us in the background there. Google says it's 11:38 a.m. in Phoenix, Arizona. So thank you very much.
There you
Jesse, hello.
go. Hi, Jesse. I have to see you.
See ya.
I love this. Cyclone, West Virginia. Man, if all of your team mascots aren't cool, I don't know what I'm thinking about. Anyway, this is a great town.
Yeah. All right. So Ramona for coffee and conversation will be at the machine even. So that's really cool.
Yep.
She says, I
Nice.
have a dirty machine and kept it that
Nice.
way for this episode.
You poor thing. That
Yeah.
would have driven me nuts. Yeah.
Yep. And
Jeff
Jeff
says
follows up.
the
Yeah. Go ahead.
same. It is hard to leave them dirty longer than you should. Yeah, that's the same thing. Sometimes I've done some on machine recording. I don't do a lot because it makes me crazy. I want the recording to be perfect. I probably should listen to Aaron's podcast about that. But yeah, it makes me nuts doing on machine recording because I'm just like everything has to be just so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ramona says, Jeff, you can't imagine. I even have had bobbin show through today because I need to clean under the bobbin spring.
If you guys don't know, in the embroidery world, the first thing ever, if you have problems with tension, to do is to clean under the bobbin spring. And so we've all said this a million times. Get a business card and run it under that flat spring that's there. It's probably dirty. If you don't know,
Interesting.
it's dirty. Just do it.
Yeah.
The bobbin is
Yeah.
the problem with your tension.
Uh, there you go. Good to know. Edward says, I need to learn which fonts, how many fonts and backgrounds to offer, etc. Less is more.
But here's what I always say about this. Don't slap the entire catalog in front of people because they're always going to go through and overanalyze. You give them a subset ahead of time of stuff that looks well, that are known good fonts, known good backgrounds, whatever it is, and that work well for whatever your medium is. For embroidery, we have to be much more careful about fonts because of the scaling. But you show them those fonts ahead of time. You can always open the book up later and give them more. But you can never take back the catalog once you've handed them everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've seen this mostly it's with apparel decorators who used to just go out and someone would come into a shop when it used to be all physical, especially though it still happens in e-commerce. Someone would come into their shop and they would grab whatever Sanmar, Broder Brothers, whatever it was
Yeah.
at the time, Alpha Broder now. But way back in the day, I remember this. This is how old this comment is. They would grab the whole catalog and put it in front of them and go, what you want?
Yeah.
And then the people would sit there for hours trying to figure it out. And I'm like, nah, give them your top 10 goods that make sense, or ask them a bunch of questions and give them 3 options. Don't throw a catalog in front of people because they just get paralyzed or they just get tired and they have bad experience with you.
Yeah. Yeah. The less is more there for sure. Like Eric said, a couple handful, right? And just pick out the ones that you like, right? Because we've got to be doing stuff that we think looks good too, right? Yeah, you want to have, but I mean, you could easily type in a Google search of, best fonts or something like that, right? And you could be searching all over the place, but you gotta find something. So what I've used this tool, Eric, I'm going to put it into the chat
Please
here real quick. because I'm not a very good designer, and I don't have all that. So I kind of have to go, okay, what looks good to me? What feels good to me? So if you go to wordmark.it, you can actually type whatever it is that you're trying to type, and it's going to show you all the fonts that you have on your computer, and you can kind of pick out the good ones. But, yeah, that might be a place where I would start, Eric.
And actually, I'm gonna pull it up because why not? This is fun.
You can look at you go. Yeah.
Oh boy, I need to install more stuff on this one.
Uh,
But still,
I've got too much, so I can, yeah. So
well, I'm just updating a new system right now. So don't have everything there. Oh, actually, since I've already got the screen up, if you
Oh,
guys wanted to know the little freebie thing that I did earlier,
yeah,
this is the one. You can go ahead and I'll go ahead and throw this in the commentary. If
yep,
you want
yep.
something to throw on a little napkin or something, and you are doing home
Oh,
decor,
very
or if you
cool.
want to sell it or give it,
Yeah.
whatever it is, doesn't matter. I did this to match. If you guys have seen my little turkey design I did years ago that everybody kind of uses, single color, no thread breaks, no jumps, no trims. And this one is run in a spun polyester thread, so that's why it looks a little fuzzy. It actually is a fuzzy thread, but you can get that here
Cool.
if you want it. Just since I mentioned it earlier, but yeah,
Yeah, I love
I
it.
do like that's a
Okay.
good tool, Wordmarks. That's really interesting. I'll have to take a look at that. Right
Yeah.
now, like I said, I've just barely built this system up, and I don't have everything that I would usually have on it. But yeah, that's very interesting. Very
Yeah,
interesting.
definitely.
There's a lot of tools that I use, though. I'm going to say, as somebody who curates collections of fonts as part of what I do, you can lose a lot of time just going, "What are new popular fonts?" Oh my god, not good.
All
Not
right.
something you want to do unless you have time to give.
Yeah. Well, since we were showing off, I have to show you the
Ah,
one
there you go.
here, but I don't remember where I'm gonna have to go find this again. But
Mm,
I was able to basically write the alphabet out on a piece of paper and submit it, and then I have a font with my own handwriting.
nice, nice.
It doesn't always look great, but every once in a while it's fun to use. So anyhow, I just had to show that real quick. Okay,
Okay.
let's get back here. Marissa, happy Friday to you. Coming in
Yes.
from
Happy Friday, Marissa.
Southern California. Okay. Jeff says, and when you let it go, you see it and think, I should have adjusted it one more time.
On the nose, working on fonts. There is no time you couldn't make a little repair or add something. There's
Yeah,
always one more thing to do.
yeah, yeah. All right. Hello, Jesse from Gale. And
Yes.
you are American when you go in and out for the toilet, but in, oh man.
Okay, let me rephrase. We got a dad joke from Yosta.
Yes, thank you.
You could
I
be.
caught up late.
We are Americans, but and when we go in the toilet and after we leave the toilet, but when we're in the toilet, we're European. European.
European.
So yeah, there you go. There's your joke.
Uh-oh, we're starting dad jokes on the half now too.
Oh
Not good.
no.
All right, Edward says right now I have 2 to 3 fonts. Birds of Paradise is personal favorite, but background's 203 marble, 2 to 3 woodcut. Yeah, so
Probably do more than
pare
two
it
to
down.
three myself, but
Yeah,
yeah. But pare
yeah,
down the background a little bit. Yeah, I usually go 9, 10 fonts on my base. I want to have some sans serif, serif, and script type fonts, and then maybe a couple of displays depending on what's going on. But I'll also trade those in and out seasonally or depending on what I'm doing. Here's the other thing too: if you're working with companies and you know the company has a style guide with a certain kind of font, figure that out. Figure that out
yeah,
and have their font available for whatever you're doing. And it's been a massive selling point for me, especially as an embroiderer. I used to make my own fonts before it was kind of cool to make fonts, I guess, or at least I didn't know anybody else who did it commercially, so that I could do full matching with people's trade dress for their companies. So
yeah,
it's something to think about. It's a different thing. It takes a different skill set. I get it, but
yeah,
when you're doing personalization for companies that have a lot of turnover, it can make a difference to
yeah.
kind of your marketability for them.
Okay. So let's see here. Ramona says they want to make an instant decision, and you can't be instant if you have 3,000 choices. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's always fair to tell them that there are more options available. So
Yep.
don't worry. If someone just literally looks at it and goes, "This is not great," make sure it's clear that there's more options available. But start with your easy, with your known good set, is what I say.
Yeah. Love it. Good morning, Lisa Shaw from Frigid, Colorado.
Oof, geez, yeah. Who I feel bad for is I saw the news coming out of New York, and they're looking at another one of those storms like it was some years ago, where they're gonna have like 4 feet in Buffalo.
Ugh.
For anybody you guys who are in New York, I am sorry. I'm pretty glad to
Yeah.
be in New Mexico right now.
Yeah. Where you're not getting
Even though it's
pounded
still
with snow.
cold,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
cool, but it's not. We're not getting smashed.
Yeah. All right. So there's Eric's.
Thank you.
What is that? A cornucopia? I think
Yes,
is
a
what they call
cornucopia.
it.
You're correct.
Yeah.
A
Look at
horn
that.
of plenty, indeed.
Yes. So Lisa said, speaking of that design, love that design,
Thank you.
quick stitching, classic design. Yeah, there you
I,
go.
there is nothing that I love more than a single like a no trim design that runs fast. As, I, as much as we love embroidery, it's always good just to roll it out. I love to be able to just
Yeah,
jam the go button and have that thing only end when it's finished. It's lovely. And I
yeah,
like that kind of design anyway. I like blackwork
yeah,
designs. I just do.
yeah. Yosta said that we got snow today. So there you go.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Edward's got a question for us here. How
Mm.
often do you give products to friends or possible future customers in hopes it will generate word of mouth sales? Eric, I'll let you start there if you don't
Okay.
mind.
Okay.
Or I've
Yeah,
got
sure.
an idea too, but we'll see how close we are.
Uh, for me, this one's a little tough. Especially sometimes with friends, it can be hard because it's about opportunities. I do love to give stuff to friends when I can, but I don't always do that in the hopes of word of mouth sales because I think that sometimes there's a little false correlation there. What I do say though is that a sample done for the right company where you know they have kind of the right mix of uh, qualities for me a lot of the times is in e-commerce. I'm like, if I've got a place that has multiple locations where they have a decent amount of turnover that's not being served in the way that I think they could be, throwing a piece of product at them is usually a win. I've won a lot with throwing out samples, but there are tons of people who want a free thing and say I'm going to promote you
Yeah.
everywhere, and if they're influencers, I need to know your sphere of influence. I'm going to be a jerk and say that because I also manage an affiliate program. And let me tell you how many people really aren't suited for it.
Yeah.
It's a lot. There's a
Yeah.
lot of people who want to be affiliates before they've built a market. And I feel the same way with business. I want to look at it and go, all right, are you just trying to get free materials? Is there really a sphere of influence you have that's interesting? Or is the product itself, the project itself, somehow interesting to me as a potential test sample, something I'm going to throw into my kind of portfolio? Is there a reason why this is educational or promotional for me that's outside of their reach?
Yeah.
That's usually what I'm looking at. I still think I probably default to more sample product than other decorators do. Some people don't do it at all,
Yeah.
but I still think that you have to be a little careful about who's actually got the reach.
Yeah.
Just because your cousin wants a free thing and says that they've got friends doesn't necessarily mean they have the reach to do anything for you. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah, that's a really good point. I'm going to speak to that whole influencer thing
Oh,
real
sure,
quick, Eric,
sure.
before I share my opinion on this too. But
Mm,
because I totally agree with you, right? Everybody says they are, maybe they've got some reach, but I would always design those types of programs um, in a backwards, right? Say, okay, cool, yeah, do that, and then once you push sales my way, then I'll give you the commission, right?
mm,
I'll give you the free thing. I'll give you $20 towards a product or something like that. It's not, hey, we'd love to, and I like, okay, well, why don't you buy it and go through the experience of working with me, and then if you love it, then you'll share, and then I'll give you that back, right? So as opposed to let me give this to you in hope of future word of mouth sales. So I guess that's my point is always start with that, and then the other side of it, I never give products to a friend in hopes of word of mouth, right? If I'm going to give something to somebody, it's as a gift with no
yeah,
expected return. If I get
100%.
word of mouth sales from it, great. But here's the other side of it. If they are really a friend that's worth having, they wouldn't expect you to give a discount or give you something free, right? Because they're going to go to Walmart, they're going to go to Target and pay full price for whatever thing that they buy there. So why would they ask a friend to
Mm,
give something to them when they're supporting these multinational corporations and not supporting you? So I
sure.
guess that's my on that. And then as far as like setting up programs and like Eric, your play of running a sample for somebody, that's a sales call, right? you're
Yeah, it's
you're
a sales
going in
call.
there as
Yeah,
a sales call. You're
it's
not
a
giving
marketing
it to
cost.
them in hope
Yeah,
of a future. You're kind of saying, hey, I'm here, here's what I can do for you. Maybe
yeah.
you're putting their logo or something on it,
Yeah.
and I'm there to get the sale, not there to give you a free thing. So
Also, I'm just going to say, very much like I feel about gambling, I don't ever gamble with money I can't lose. If this is dire, if I have to have it back, then I don't do it.
Yeah.
That's just one of those things. I'm not saying that you don't. I think we all have to have budgets for marketing, and that some of
Yep.
that should be samples.
Yep.
Some of the marketing should be doing that stuff.
Yep.
But,
Yep. All right. Next question here. We're getting a little tighter on time, so I want to get to as many as we can here. Do you have a magic number for how many choices is enough?
How many font choices? Not so much. I don't know if there's a magic number. For me, it's about the market that I'm in and how quickly somebody has to make a decision. Online sales, I can let them have a little more time because I'm not tying up a human being doing that. I can let people browse at their leisure. It's more about not confusing them with the mass amount. But then if you look at like a Canva's got thousands of fonts, but I find it actually is a little too much. What you will find though is that they curate collections of fonts for you to look at. Correct. And they show you examples of how they look.
Yeah.
The biggest thing there is to know your market that you're selling to. The other thing is I have some general stuff for embroidery that I know runs well. So in embroidery, I have a set of fonts that's going to be good running fonts that I know can run at scales, and I have those ready to go. At the same time, if I have a sales call with somebody, I'm hoping I know enough about them that I can lead them into something, knowing their business, knowing their style. That's the second half of it is, yes, I'm presenting this thing. If people are just coming in for random personalization names on stuff, I've got a set of 10 to 12 fonts that I'm probably going to put in front of them in categories. And if they say, none of these are really hitting for me, they can at least point to something and go, something more like this.
Yeah.
If they don't have the technical knowledge, tell me what they need.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. Jeff says, or my favorite, they have a style guide and their old decoration company didn't use their style guide and used a random font. You match the style guide and they want you to match the random font for consistency.
That can happen. I will say I've had it happen both directions, both that I've had to match some weird thing that somebody did before, and that they've given me all their business because they're like, oh, wow, that actually looks like the logo. I thought you couldn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's just about the investment in the company. But once again, you got to know the company and know if they actually have that mix of turnaround that makes it make sense to put that effort in.
That personalized service and return on investment based on that. All right. I'm a little quick happy. Sorry. Edward says, I have not had the nerve to try companies yet, just normal people, one-off orders for the most part. And again, that's totally fine. But if you're going to give to somebody, if you're going in like I need word of mouth sales and I'm like designing something specific, to have just generic samples that you keep and show people, hey, this is what I do, that's fine. But to like make something specific for like a one-off person, that I probably wouldn't do a whole lot of that. And especially if it's a friend, right? If they really want something for themselves, then they can pay you for it. So, all right. The breeder of my first service dog wanted to order a custom sew-made glass cutting board, but she recently put down 2 of her dogs due to health age. I want to give her the cutting board. Okay. Well, then you give it to her as a gift, you're giving it as a gift. And that's fine. I mean, I just printed up a big blanket for somebody to give as a gift, right? And do I hope that maybe someday we'll get some business? I don't know, but I'm giving it as a gift because I can make it.
The second half of that comment has our dogs on it in hopes it'll generate more sales as she's huge in the community. Great. I think it's perfectly fine to say, I know you were going to cancel your order, but I'm giving you this as a gift. I'd really appreciate it if you shared my business with people.
Yeah.
That's fine. The ask is fine. Even on a gift like that, I think it's fine to say, hey, if anybody asks you about it, please let them know I can do this. Though I am going to say, this is kind of funny what Lisa just said. She agrees about the gift thing. She says, in fact, most gifts I wouldn't want to do in a production scenario. 100%, don't show people work you can't do profitably.
Yeah.
If you do something that's for someone that takes a tremendous amount of effort that you couldn't do for a profit if you tried, be really hesitant about them running around telling everybody you did it. Yeah. I've had this problem before. Sometimes you do things that are outside of the scope. You do them for love and they're not something that's easy to do for money, or make it really clear to them how much this stuff costs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very good points by everybody there, and it is a slippery slope, right? You've got to understand what your heart is telling you, but and I'm not saying, Edward, that that there's a potential there that but if you're doing it just because of the potential, then it's going to come across as that, right? Give a gift to give a gift, but not because you think that's it. And honestly, don't make assumptions for them either, right? And maybe she said that that she couldn't do it because she had to put 2 of her dogs down. But don't assume that they're not buying because of that. They might actually want to still buy them, right? So I don't go into that with the assumption of, oh, you're putting your preconceived notions onto them. They may want to, you might be stealing an opportunity. Maybe that really is going to be meaningful for them to purchase those things as they want to give it as a gift, right? If you give them a gift and they can't then in turn give it. So I don't know. There's a whole bunch of different things we could go down there.
Learned things the hard way on that one too, says Jeff.
All right.
So
What else
Aaron,
we got on there?
as we're leaving, here's what I'm going to say. Let us know. So I know this is terrible, so you don't want to like call people out, but what's the job or the customer that absolutely just you wish you hadn't put all that extra effort in?
Where do I start?
Spill the tea, man.
Yeah. Well, how about
You can't have two producers.
no, too many button pushers. And the answer to that was everybody that I worked with before I got our success group, right? So I don't have any of those right now.
All right, folks.
Hey, have a great Thanksgiving, everybody.
Have a good Thanksgiving, folks.